Well, hello and welcome to our monthly wellness talk. And this month at BeWELL, we are talking about Mental Health Month because it is Mental Health Month. And little fun fact, Mental Health Month, which I had no idea until I Googled it recently, started in 1949 so that we could bring awareness to the importance of mental health and also highlight that people actually can recover from mental illness, which is not something that we talk about that often. And on your social media screens and all of that, it's like what you can do to improve your mental health, but that mental illness is a thing that you actually can recover from. So we're going to talk, and this year, there's two themes: is what tools to thrive and you are not alone. And so I am actually not going to do this alone because you can see my friend Amina here. So Amina, who I'm going to let her introduce herself in a second, is somebody I can talk about mental health with forever. I actually can talk to her about anything. But tonight we're going to talk about mental health, the importance of mental health, and some of the things that are actually happening in the world right now. So Amina, tell all our people who you are.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Second of all, huge congratulations on the opening of BeWELL in New Jersey, my home state, the greatest state that ever was and ever will be.
Yes, I do know that you are a fan of the Jers. Huge fan of the Jers.
Huge
Yes, we
fan
are
of the
super
Jersey.
excited. We are super excited to be here in Hoboken, and I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. And little, just a little thing,
Just a little thing.
just a little
Um,
thing.
yeah, I'm a holistic leadership and mindset coach, and my work sits at the intersection of mindset coaching, wellness coaching, and leadership coaching because I believe that to show up fully in our businesses, in our careers, we really need to look at all three pieces with the same due diligence. So, what's happening in our mindsets? Is it allowing us to thrive? What's happening in our bodies? If we're not
Mm-hmm.
taking care of our bodies, can we be clear? Can we show up fully for the work? It's a big question. And then what are the strategies and tactics that we use in our work to allow us to really show up on purpose and connected to what we're called to do? Yeah, and I have been so lucky to be a friend and colleague of Diana's for like 5 years now. I'm a huge fan of BeWELL and everything that you stand for, and so excited to have this conversation with you today.
I am super excited. And for those of you who are listening and watching us on Facebook tonight, Amina is my go-to for my team when I want somebody to come in and talk to my team about integrating these pieces, because we really emphasize the importance of mental health as being as important as your physical health. But sometimes even for therapists, we get like wrapped up in the work and we forget. So Amina comes in, she gives my team a little hug, helps them to figure out like how to really take care of yourself, because we are taking care of people all the time. So it's really difficult. Sometimes it's hard for us to get out of our own way. So I'm very grateful to you, my friend. That seems like forever years, not just 5 years. It was forever a friendship. So this year, as we know, it is Tools to Thrive, and the big thing on everybody's mind right now is going back outside. So most recently, I saw that my girl here posted this wonderful thing about getting your teams to go back to work, go back to work, which is something that has been really on my mind for my team and for myself. And in this new pivot, because it is a new pivot, we do have to pivot again. We do have to like really look internally as what is happening as we are taking these steps. I know for myself, I worked in my office on Tuesday and I was exhausted. I was like I had never traveled to work before. So I want you to speak about it a little bit, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm seeing on my side, because
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of resistance and patience and various things. So what are you seeing?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I'm kind of seeing two schools of thought, which is what inspired me to create this resource around how we really consciously design our reentry into work. So, some people who were super resistant and were like, I don't feel safe and I really love working from home and I have thrived in my at home context. I don't want to go
Yep.
back. And then some people being like, oh my gosh, I miss everybody. I miss the opportunity to have a water cooler talk. I cannot wait to get back. And so
Sure.
really seeing two sides. So when I was creating this resource, I was like, okay, well, we need to look at fear for the people that don't want to go back. And we also want to celebrate for the people that are excited to go back as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing is really creating our next normal and being really conscious about it. So I think that 2020 and 2021 has really been like everything has been a conversation around consent. Like Is it okay for us to hug? How many people is too many? Are you comfortable if I don't wear a mask? We're always checking in with people. And so we want to check in with ourselves too when we're navigating this next normal and going back to work of, well, what's going to make me feel safe? What's going to allow me to show up fully? So what boundaries do I need to set? How do I need to articulate those boundaries to my teams and coworkers? And what's going to allow me to feel really supported and taken care of? How do I want to take care of my team? How do I check in with them? How do I create open communication? So lots of questions around that.
Yes.
And I think there's also a physical piece too of we're being asked to go back to something that requires maybe a little bit more endurance than we've been cultivating for ourselves in our at-home context. And so what does it look like to cultivate endurance and to lean into something a little different now?
Yes. I'm hearing all of these things, and interesting as you're talking, I'm like, oh, I hear like the anxiety piece. Like I hear the language around like what it is. Like, well, I'm actually nervous to go back. I don't want to be around other people. I don't know how it feels to be with people anymore, and I don't know if I'm really going to like it. And I know that like for patients and for my staff, I see it in everybody. I'm thinking of one particular staff member who I'm going to talk about in case she's watching, Anisha, who at the beginning, I mean, Anisha and I have done a lot of talk. For those of you who don't know Anisha, she hosts BeWELL, the podcast with me on Friday mornings, and it comes out on Tuesdays. But Anisha's an extrovert, and that's what she talked about at the beginning of COVID, and how much she missed that, right? Mm-hmm. And also for myself, like I like to be outside and around people. But I saw her like really shift and change. And the other day she said to me, she's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go. And I was like, well, wait a second. You were like my go-to. You were not going to be the one that said, I don't know. You were going to be the one that was like cheerleading and championing with me to go. And I'm seeing also like two different things, right? Like, yes, I'm going to go out for dinner. Yes, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. Sure, I'm going to travel, but I don't necessarily want to go back to work. And I think, and I should say back to the office, because I have been saying back to work, and I know that that's the wrong language, because we haven't actually stopped working. Right. Like we've just created new habits and we've created new ways of being. And like when I start to talk about like how are we going to put in these like new interventions, like getting up in the morning, we have to change our sleep patterns. When we have to change our habit of like, when am I going to wash my hair and get dressed? Like that's like sometimes I don't do that till like 1 and nobody knows. Like you can't do that when you're in the office. You can't like roll up in your sweats and like run in the back and take a shower. And so in those moments of like how that's going to work and what that's going to look like, and as we navigate that, and like eating, I mean, we could talk about eating forever, like how eating habits have changed completely. Like when I was in my office, I couldn't figure out how to order lunch. Not that I don't know how to use Seamless.
Okay, I was like, ask questions about that.
No, but it was like the decision making became more complicated than it has been, right? Because I know what's in my refrigerator. I don't have to think about it. I can just go get something to eat. It's another part of the brain that I wasn't using, right? Mm-hmm. Because I could like, and I was like, this is so weird. Like I know what to do, but maybe my restaurant near my office is closed and I can't go in. It did happen to me at Sweetgreen. And I had to order it from my office. I couldn't just walk up to the counter to get it. And I didn't know, I was like, wait a second, I can only pick it up? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, no. So it took like way longer. It got really confusing. And, but I think all of those pieces, as we start to look at them, like where are we going to get those tools to thrive? And also like, who is our accountability partner? Who are we going to use to really help us as we navigate? Like, do we have to go every day? Like, what's it going to look like? What kind of hybrid things are you seeing?
Yeah, so I've been asking clients like what their offices are doing and like really on the hunt for best practice here. And I had an interesting conversation with somebody today that works at a biotech firm, and they're really making it very individual. So they have some company-wide plans around vaccination and when they're going to invite people back into the office, but they're also allowing it to be really specific to department and really specific to the individual. So there's some sort of scaffolding and baseline requirements, but the individual gets to decide what feels safe for them, what feels supported for them, and I think that's a really beautiful thing.
That is nice. And then there's the vaccine question. right?
Yeah.
Like how you feel about being vaccinated, how you feel, well, I mean, wasn't today in New York the first day? Masks off.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
I mean, I haven't left work yet, so I don't know.
I'm curious as to how it went because I know that I mean, I have my own, everybody has their own personal opinion about how they're going to mask or not mask or
Yeah.
sometimes mask or buy new masks or match it to your outfit or don't match it to your outfit or whatever the case may be. Like it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And how comfortable you feel, and maybe you'll wear a mask forever. Maybe the Japanese have it right. Like just wear a mask, like outside. It looks cute. Like get your Hello Kitty thing and do your thing.
You
But
can make it
like
work.
you could totally make it work,
Yeah.
and some people are like, as we all know, some people are not going to do it. And how to talk about vaccines. And now for us, going back into the office also means we have to interface with our patients. And
Yeah.
so helping, I mean, we are technically, even though we've been working at home, we're frontline workers. So we
Yeah.
are, part of our ethical, moral responsibility is to the patient to help them navigate coming back into the world, coming back into the office. So as I have conversations with my patients about what that's going to look like, some of them are like, oh my God, I can't wait to see you. I can't stand it. I don't want to talk to you on the phone anymore. I want
Yeah.
to see, I want to make sure, like, are you there? What's happening? And others are like, you know what? I like it just like this. And I prefer just to talk to you. But some of them are like on the phone, like if I never saw you again, that's cool. And I'm like, really? You don't want to like? But for some people, we really have to. Like I know that there's some people that I really have to get my eyes on. Like I really have to see them to physically know what's happening with them, how they feel in the room will give me an indication on what the next intervention is and what that's going to be like, and how to really help them navigate these next steps. And if you don't, I mean, some of the things that we see from the isolation, from being separate, is that we see more depression, we see more anxiety, we see sleep, like how many articles have you read about sleep? I mean, nobody's sleeping.
No.
And so how to, like, just the idea of coming in and talking and being with your therapist or being with another person and talking like in real time, even though we're doing this now, but I know you, right? So I know, like, I have an organic feel for you, but how many people have we hired over Zoom that we've never even met?
Right. That we've never felt. Like there's something about the energy of being in the room with people. I'm super curious to hear. I would love to hear how you've designed it with going back into the office.
Well, funny, I took a survey, which is very interesting to hear. And some people we talked about, like, patients weren't going to go back to the office, so they weren't going to come back to the office. And I've gotten a lot of like, I don't know how I feel. And what I've decided to do for now is for the summer, we're going to have Wellness Wednesdays where I will be in the office personally. And there'll be something to do that's external from their own therapeutic work. Either it will be that we'll have a smoothie day, or maybe I'll have somebody come in with a massage chair for the day, or I've started to we're going to have a meditation teacher come. We're going to have a lot of different organic things that will happen. Maybe we'll have, what did I see you with your singing bowl? Your sound
Oh yeah, I love this the sound bowl.
bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do all of that so that we also, I want, I mean, for my team, what's really the hardest is our work is so individual. So even like we're not like on Slack all day working on projects. We're like individual one-on-one in our spaces with our patients, and then the only time we ever actually get to see each other is when we're like crossing each other in the hallway. Like otherwise we wouldn't, like we come together for a team meeting once a month, and then we've been doing an anti-racist training regularly now for the past couple months, so that's brought us together. But even then, and we have group supervision, but we're all broken up in separate places. So I'm hoping that this will bring us in a way that like we're working on our comfortability, and then we're talking about it and what it felt like to come in. We'll definitely have a more organic conversation around like what the experience was for each of us to commute back and forth, or be with the patients, or what the patients felt like when they came in, and then really give them as much support as I can with this Wellness Wednesday, and then build it up. And it'll be the same. It'll be a hybrid. I won't make anybody come back to work full time if it's not something, I mean, you shouldn't have to come all the way into telehealth. So, but some people will remain in person, I mean, on whatever this telehealth way, but we will start to offer in sessions for new people, because I think that will be the easiest way to shift, right? Like if you met your therapist right now for the first time over Zoom, and this is how you've created a year-long relationship, this may be working. Like you don't know another modality.
Right.
So, but for that next person who's like ready to go out, let's get them out of their house.
Yeah.
Let's get them into the office and like start to create that change, that shift for the person, and then see how that person that's on telehealth, how he or she starts to shift and change. I mean, I work mostly on the phone, and I personally hadn't taken new patients, and I just took one, and he wanted to be on. I was like, you want to see? Oh, right, you don't know me. Of course you want to see me. Like everybody else, like I've worked with, I've known for years and years. So like they were like, whatever, I know what you look like. But he was like, yeah, no. I was like, oh, that's good. But he's one of them. I'll probably have him come in. Like I don't know him. I want to feel it.
Yeah.
So that's how we're gonna do it, I think.
I know. You rolled the plans out.
I wrote the plans. And then come September, it's going to be like 1 or 2 days. You got to pick a day, come in, like, and get your people to come in, like, get them to do it, because it's better for the treatment. It's better for the therapist. It's better for the person. It's better overall. Whether that person is working in their office or not, it's better to come and see your therapist. Just like it's better to see your primary care doctor in person than it is over Zoom.
Yeah. You can do more. That's such a generous and nourishing way to invite everybody back to the space, really centering their well-being with Wellness Wednesdays. I feel like that's such a loving and compassionate approach. Of course you did that.
Of course I did. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I want to make it fun too. I want to make it so that people will, and also that, especially here, here in our new Hoboken office, so that the new people who of course they haven't met anybody.
Right.
Like they
onboarded in the pandemic and virtually for some people has been really challenging. So that could be a really lovely thing for new team members.
Onboard, one of the things that I did find because we have to have their pictures taken, so we have to meet them like they had to come in. They're tiny, they're short. I didn't realize, like, they're not tall. Like people looked at me like they were adorable, and I was like, oh my God. Like you think, like you have this whole impression.
Yeah,
but also,
I get that a lot. People are like, "Oh, you're short." I'm surprised.
Yeah, you aren't tall, but I mean, and I'm not a tall person either. But like, it's just like you have this idea, and then you meet people, and you're like, "Oh," but then like you get to like there's so much more than like we're just seeing people from the shoulders up.
Right.
Like
we have whole bodies.
We have whole experiences, and like what we are holding in our bodies too is like, it's so important. It's important to move, and it's important to get out, and important to do all the things.
Yeah.
Now, what are you doing to taking care of your mental health as we pivot?
Oh, okay, so much.
Yes.
So I feel, as a human and as a coach, obviously I believe in coaching, otherwise I wouldn't be a coach. So I'm always being coached, and that is so wonderful. And right now I'm working with a business coach who's always leveling me up, and so grateful for them. But I also work with a therapist, and I have layered in hypnosis because I love it so much. I think I've shared this with you in the past. Yes. Hypnosis for me is like, it's such a profound up level. It's like if my conscious brain is here, my subconscious is here, hypnosis is like, hello, and I have access to all this information that I never knew was there. And I move quickly through the world, and hypnosis just feels like, I don't know, it's a modality that really resonates with me. So that has been big. And then,
I mean, you said you really I have not. Have I been hypnotized? Yes, I have. Years ago.
yeah,
Mhm.
the hypnosis I did in the past was different to what I'm doing now. Now it's Ericksonian induction hypnosis, like the very classic form. And it's so
Ooh.
cool. They basically tell you a story and like insert these words in, and like your mind shifted. It's pretty great. Um,
Are you doing this week? I gotta know more. Are you doing this weekly?
yes.
In conjunction with talk therapy?
Talk therapy I'm doing every other week.
Oh my god. I want you to write a paper.
All right.
I think you should publish it.
Okay. I'll let you know what my shifts are. Um,
Oh, I
but
I can't wait to know what your shifts are. I'm
be
gonna
a
read that
whole new
paper.
woman.
Well, when your subconscious comes like when the unconscious starts to come forward, you are a whole new woman. I mean, all the things that shift and change and like allow you to mature. Like, we don't we don't think about therapy as bringing us to a more mature state. I do
Yeah.
because that's how
Yeah.
I'm trained. But like we start in this very pre-verbal, like narcissistic id like state, no matter who we are when we start therapy, and then this hypnosis like really like gets you through that first 2 years so quickly, because it will bring that conscious, like all therapists are trying to do is help you bring that forward so that we can like merge your self states. Just a little side note.
Love that. Love that. Like you, I'm also super physical. So, moving is a really big part of my mental health too. So I move my body at least like 5 or 6 days a week, and been playing around with different modalities throughout the pandemic as well. Like, what's it like to work out by yourself at home versus in the energy of a class? And so finding my happy balance there. And I have to tell you a really fascinating story because I think you will love this.
I'm gonna love it, but I just before you do that, are we not following each other on Peloton?
Oh, I don't have a Peloton. I have a Soul Cycle bike.
Okay, fine. Just double checking, because if you had a Peloton, we would be videoing. Go.
Probably. Yeah, but that gets me into like competitive Amina, who I'm really trying to
It's
release.
okay.
So,
I'm slow. I'm slow. I don't even look at the leaderboard. I like put it on the side. Like
like,
it's too.
go it.
The leaderboard is too much for me. I can't. I'm like,
So
I just.
intense.
Yeah. No. I
Yeah,
just shh, onto the
yeah,
side.
I know.
Okay. Now tell me.
Okay, so on Sunday, I was doing my regular strength training workout and I felt fine. And then I drove to New Jersey to see a friend who is a functional medicine doctor. She just had a baby, so I wanted to meet her baby. And by the
Oh.
time I got there after the hour drive, I had thrown out my back. I like couldn't get out of the car. I know it was so weird. And then I was at her house and I like couldn't get off the sofa and I couldn't like hold her baby because like my back was gone. And I was like, what is this? And so she was like, Amina, I have this physical therapist that you should talk to, but like she does a lot of breath work stuff. And I was like, okay, cool, interesting. So then she
Uh-huh.
connects me with this woman, and
Mhm.
we have one session where she has me lay on the floor and send my breath to that area of my back. And prior to this session, I couldn't stand up straight. I was literally crawling around my apartment, like on all fours. Like that's how serious it was.
Yeah. A good
And then
one.
after
Yep.
this session, I was totally fine, as if nothing was there. And basically, she was talking to me and telling me that, like, through the breath, if we've had like an injury in a particular space, we have a sensitivity there, right?
Mhm.
But it's like brain body. It's your
Yeah.
brain is like, we don't feel safe. Like, let's
Hold
protect
on.
this
Hold on. Hold
area.
on.
Yeah, let's tighten the
Yep.
muscles here. And it had nothing to do with my physical activity. It had everything to do with what was happening emotionally.
Yeah.
And that simple act of breathing and sending the breath there shifted everything
Mhm.
physically.
Oh, I want to know what all the thoughts were after that. So in the back, just I know. Well, in the back holds so much. Was it mid, lower, or upper?
Lower, my fear space.
I was just gonna say foundation. All your foundation, all the foundational work. If it's in the middle, I mean, obviously it's your heart there, but also work related. Lower back is just like pure foundation. Oh
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Connie is So yes, money and foundation is right there. So one of my coaches happens to be tuned in tonight, and I'm so excited for her to be here. She has actually been one of my rocks and solid like you during this whole pandemic, and really helping me to like stay grounded, which I miraculously did. It was touch and go at the beginning, but I like definitely found my footing and stayed grounded, and she's been so helpful in all of it. And I love hearing all of the things that you're doing to take care of yourself. Obviously, oh, thank you. Obviously, it's not always obvious that your therapist is in therapy.
I want to know like what you're doing, because you're like literally supporting an entire team, running a business, opening a new office. So what do you do to support yourself?
Nothing. No,
Queen.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Nothing. I recently wrote for Mental Health Month my own personal story about therapy and how long I have actually been in treatment. And so I have not it for me, what was really interesting is I had never had a phone session or done a telehealth session. I have gone to my therapist's office every week for the past 30 years.
Wow.
So that was different. I was so grateful that I had that relationship. So she is not my first therapist, she's not my first analyst, but she and I have been together for 20 years.
Wow.
And I also have a group analyst who I've been with for an equal amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I had both of those foundations, which was, for those of you who are watching this and listening, if you have not come in contact with an old school New York City analyst, and I mean old school, like getting them set up with like phone, PayPal, or however I paid them, and Zoom and all of the things, was probably one of the funniest things. I actually just found out that I was in group today, and we were talking about if we're going to go back in person, which is another thing. Like, people have moved. What are we going to do? We're going to go back in person. And all of a sudden he said, well, I just have to figure out how to wire my office. And I was like, did anybody just catch that? I was like, wait a second, you don't have Wi-Fi in your office? Exactly.
No, I was like, why are you
I was like, oh my God. He was like, why would I? I was like, you're supposed to, what do I need to do? I'm busy and I read, and while I'm in between patients, or I go for a walk, or I go out and I talk to people, and you're there putting your thoughts and feelings into words. And I was like, my heart was so full. I was like, I love that still exists. He's like, but I'll do anything if you guys want to come back to the office. So just tell me what to do. It's like, okay. So I was really held and taken care of by those two people who are very, very important to me. So, and my therapy is weekly, and my group meets every other week. And I am also in supervision. So I had a supervisor. I had Connie, who was here. I had you. I had a lot of really good, solid supports. And as far as, and I have Jess, who is over there, who is behind us. And for those of you who can't see her, Jess was hired 1 week before the pandemic, and we were like, hey, yeah, we were just going to do this. And she totally held it down for me the whole time. And in the middle had a baby.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. She's
super shiro.
Super shiro. And I got a Peloton, which has been super fun and really been able to help me keep moving and stay focused. And then everybody in my family got on, and it's been hysterical.
Yeah.
the whole Peloton thing has been really hysterical. And that was helpful. And I'm finding now with this new pivot, I am a little bit more anxious. Like I was doing a lot more yoga at the beginning, and I think that as chill as I'm like, yeah, we just opened a thing in Hoboken, we just, expanded and whatever. It's like, it's a little bit of a false self, but I want to get back to more. I took one yoga class out here in the Jers recently, and then turned around and I was like, oh, there's too many people in here for me. I'm not quite ready for that. So I'll probably get back to that. I couldn't do any more yoga in my house. I really got to get out of the house.
Yeah.
It's too much.
I'm looking for some outdoor spots for yoga. Maybe we could do that together.
I would love that.
Right? Like an
Love
outdoor
that. You know,
sunset
I gotta come over to your side of the world because Monkey's got to go to the vet.
monkey.
I know. He likes it here too. He's been all the way over here. So, Amina, I
Yeah.
want to thank you for joining us tonight and
Thank you for having
helping me really christen opening Hoboken. I'm having a very fond memory right now. It's warming my heart of running into you on Washington Street, totally random, and just how much fun and amazing that is. And I'm so excited that you are part of my world and that we are just going to continue to. We're not alone. It's nice to know. I know that, and that we're both out there working with people, giving them tools to thrive for the rest of this year and moving forward, which is an amazing theme for Mental Health Month. And here we are in Hoboken. We are officially opening this weekend, and we will be seeing people in person as of June 1st. As soon as I put some furniture in the offices.
Yeah.
Well, it was like I said to my new client care coordinator, I was like, "Yeah, we'll see her in person." I was like, on the floor in the office, going, "Oh wait, there's no furniture in this."
Oh, there's nowhere to sit. Okay.
It's okay though. It's okay. But furniture's coming. And we are always available virtually, and we're still obviously available in the city. And you can find us at BeWELLpsychotherapy.com. And Amina's going to tell you, and if I'm telling you, if you have any shifts, changes, and moves you want to make in your career right now, Amina is the place to go. So, Amina, where can we find you?
Thank you. Well, first of all, I just want to shout you out for everything that you have done and who you be. I mean, all the people that you have upheld through this really, really challenging year. And you've come out to this other place, entering this next normal, having expanded your business, having preserved your well-being. Like, you are incredible. And I'm sure your team would echo everything that I'm saying. You're just a superhuman, and it's an honor to know you and to get to do this first webinar with you. I'm so grateful that you asked me. You're amazing.
I'm going to take it all in. It's hard, but I'm taking it all in.
I always joke with my clients and friends, I'm like, I'm going to make bracelets that say receive, and we'll just like ping ourselves to remind ourselves to receive when people give us the compliment.
I know, it's so I was like sweating a little bit. I'm like, she's going to stop. Okay, I heard
Like,
you.
it's embarrassing now. Stop. Yeah.
Oh, yes, we're all set. Well, we can sell it on the new merchandise site. We'll get to that. Go
Yes,
on.
merch.
Yeah. Tell us where we can find you, and we'll make sure that we it's not show notes because this isn't going to be show notes, but it'll be on the website.
Great. You can find me on Instagram at Amina AlTai. Spelling will be in whatever form of show notes we have. And my website is the same. It's aminaaltai.com.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And as always, take care of your mental health just like you take care of your physical health. And you deserve to be well. Okay. Bye. Okay, this shuts off really quick, but I love you.
Love you. Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.